Right, hello and welcome to another show of Life Talks with Fawole. Today we have Marteka Swaby and we're talking about mental health.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
So the name of your organisation you run, Marteka runs a mental health organisation?
I do. So my name's Marteka. I run an organisation called Benevolent Health, and we support people around mental health, particularly in the workplace, but really looking more at community stuff. I think that since the pandemic, we see more of an issue, particularly in diverse communities around mental health. I think for me personally, in my private practice, I've certainly seen a lot more Black women come forward for support around mental health since the pandemic. I think there's something that's more acceptable about talking about mental health, about people kind of owning that they need some support. And actually, I think it's taken a toll on all of us.
Mental health is a very general term. What would you say mental health means to you? Because, like, for me, people say, oh, you shouldn't talk to yourself, you shouldn't ask yourself. There's different degrees, and due to what you said about the pandemic, people have had to go inside themselves a lot more and find out who they are or deal with things that they wouldn't have necessarily had to deal with when they've got to go to work and take care of their kids and to get the kids to school, maybe take care of their husbands, so on and so forth. Because of the pandemic, they've been forced to face certain home truths, skeletons, if you like it. So what would you say, like, what is mental health? Like, how does someone know they've got a problem with their mental health?
I mean, that's a good question. I think that when we think about mental health, we actually think about mental illness, and I think they're different. So I think that when we think about mental health, we think about stress, anxiety, depression. We think about also diagnosed mental illness, so schizophrenia, bipolar.
Yeah.
And actually, you know, that's mental illness. So that's like a diagnosed mental illness. But on the other side of it, when we're talking about our kind of general day-to-day well-being, like how we connect with people, you know, how we spend our money, our social interactions, all the things that keep us well and keep us mentally healthy, exercise, food, whatever that looks like for you as an individual, I think we neglect that side of the conversation. So when we think about mental health, I think we think mental illness.
Yeah,
and I think some of that...
Shouting.
Yeah, some of that's in that kind of systemic thinking around that kind of illness model, you know.
Do you think people highlight good mental health enough?
No. I think we're focused on an illness model, on the idea that you need to see a doctor or a psychiatrist and get support.
Well, I care to differ because I think that, like, if you look at the media and the powers that be, talk about Kanye West. People say Kanye West is crazy, but he's a good kind of crazy because he's managed to harness and channel his energy, wherever the energy is, and profit from it and
That's not
work in a.
What I more meant, it was like, you know, no one says that guy's got amazing mental health, like in terms of like he's in a good place. Like when they feel like someone's going crazy or they got mental illness, it's highlighted as mental health. But when someone's doing well and they are operating as they should, no one highlights it as, his mental health is really good, in a good place.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, with like all the labels and stuff that have come out since I was in school, having ADHD, having anxiety, a lot more people are claiming these things where people never had these labels before.
Yeah.
Schizophrenia, like the ADHD thing, they say Kanye West has got it going back to him. People who've got ADHD, probably they're really hype. When they get something they like to do, they'll focus on it. But when they find the thing they need to focus on, their classes that mental health, the bad mental health.
Yeah.
When they find that focus and there's fruits of their labour, like Kanye West again, I feel like that's good mental health because I don't know no one who wouldn't say that he's a bit crazy. Yeah. But he has achieved so much in his own right.
But I mean, it's perception, isn't it? Because I think that I was watching a clip this morning actually where Kim was talking about her experience of being married to him and the children and stuff. And she was saying that, you know, you kind of come to a point where you need to get external support. And I think at one point they wanted to section him and he was like refusing it. Yeah. And so it's like absolutely in your genius or your creativity, you know, these things can spur you on and make you super creative. But there becomes a point where it's out of control and you start to become potentially a danger to yourself and other people. and the impact it has on other people. So, I mean, your question about good mental health, I think, is a little bit different, because I think that you're right. We don't have a perspective on mental health that's good. Like, what does good look like? You look like down Instagram and you see all these like fit bodies that look perfect, that, you know, everyone aspires to. Yeah. And it's like, that's like good physical health, right? That's the perception. But if you look at good mental health, then what is the framework for that? And what does that look like? What do those things consist of? Because if I look at physical health, it's like, do muscles and Botox and massive boobs, and, you know, is that good physical health? You know, how do we define what good mental health is? I think we don't have those conversations.
But then for you running an organisation, that's a question I'll ask you. How do you define it?
Well, I mean, I think my perception of what good mental health is and your perception are not going to be the same.
Absolutely not.
And I think it's really important that, you know, we have a personalised approach to this, because I think that we all resonate differently to different things. And I also think culturally as well, like, that has an impact on our mental health and how we connect mentally. So, you know, if I go to my doctor and I say I feel depressed, you know, he might or she might prescribe me medication. And in some cultures, that's a stigma. So they won't go and ask for help because they don't want to be on medication. Whereas if I could be prescribed, I don't know, prayer or meditation or something like that, you know, maybe
to help mental illness,
maybe that would be more acceptable. We're talking about mental health, though.
Okay.
Not mental illness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why would you say, in your opinion, why do you think mental health, mental illness is so high in the minorities opposed to other races?
That's a really good question. And again, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Because I think that, you know, when you look at kind of how services are set up or how you get help, what we see particularly in my community, in black people, is that actually we don't come forward for early help, that we don't see black, brown, other ethnic groups in frontline services. So they don't go to the GP and ask for support. We don't see them in talking therapies, for example. But we do have a high number, particularly of black men in acute beds, so in mental health wards.
Yeah, I want to get to something. I want to put a pin inside. I'll let you finish. I want to ask you something about that as well.
So when you've got a high proportion of people showing up at the crisis end, and often for black men it's forced. So Mental Health Act, criminal justice system, that's how they enter the system. And when you've got the other side, where you've got massive underrepresentation, you have to go, okay, there's some kind of systemic problem here, or something wider is happening. So I think there's something in systemic racism and some of the challenges that we have around that. But if you read the Cyril report, it doesn't exist.
What report?
So
the report done by
Cyril?
I don't ask me. I don't know. This is your
you were saying it like I was saying it wrong.
No. The Cyril report.
Yeah. So we've just had like the Race Equality Commission have been commissioned to write a report on race.
All this stuff, yeah. Sorry, I'm
and equality in the UK.
Reports, all the reports they do and the things they do sometimes, the people that do them, are they the right people to do them?
Well, he's a black man.
But still, there could be, just because you're black don't mean you're pro-black or you're pro certain things.
He's a black man that leads the education strategy of the country. So, you know, he's very qualified.
Yeah. I'm just throwing aspersions as to all the reports are done. I'm going from all different kind of reports, like the police reports are done, and this, that, the third. The people that are doing them, are they the right people to do them, basically? If things are consistently happening and things are not getting addressed, then there must be something wrong in Denmark. Let's see if the Cyril report makes any changes or implements anything. Then we could talk about that maybe at a later date.
I mean, I don't think it's... He said that Britain is not systemically racist. And that
what kind of nonsense is that?
Racism doesn't exist.
The next week, see, so exactly, the same guy you're talking about... The same guy you're talking about, giving inverted commas, he's talking out of his... All right. So, boom. So the same thing now. The black people, the Asians, the minorities... you're in a country where people, you're already getting victimised for certain things. There's an undercurrent of it. Without even being said, it in the shops, in businesses, in workplace, everywhere you go. You know you got a problem with mental health. You got a little slight problem. You're going to now surrender yourself to the system that now has total control of you. Because my understanding is once you get sectioned, they've got control of you. They tell you when you can come out, whatever. Until you're okay, you got to get released. I think that's why a lot of people don't want to go into that system or even admit that they may have been having problems with certain things because they just get pushed into the corner and then generalise. Because when you go into these places now, there's no, as you said, individualised kind of therapy. It's a general kind of thing. We'll do this or we'll give them a bit of drugs, we'll do that. This is my understanding of it. So if I'm going to go into that, I'm going to come out worse than I went in. If I'm going into somewhere that no one cares about anyone and it's already a racist country, it's already a racist institution. They're saying the NHS has got problems, the police force has got problems, everyone's got problems. So you'd have to be mental to go into a mental home, really and truly, wouldn't you?
A mental home?
Well, you know what I mean, to go under the magnifying glass, to be sectioned, to even go to surrender your life into the hands of a doctor who probably doesn't really care to that point except for getting their paycheck, and they're seeing a black person, Asian person, minority, they'll sweep you under the carpet.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things in that. So let's just pull out the thread of the kind of the workforce because you know the black, brown, other ethnic group workforce. I don't like to use the term BAME, but we kind of all know what it means.
BAME,
black and minority
Asian.
ethnic group.
I thought that was Batman. No, Bane. Is it Bane?
Bane?
There's a character Bane or something.
Is it?
No?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, that's what I thought that was. No, anyway, let me not divert from the thing, but
Yeah, but BAME is that they use it in all terms for black and Asian minorities. I think something to do with black and Asian minorities. Black, Asian minorities, entertainment.
Entertainment,
Ethnic groups. Minority
ethnic
groups.
See, I didn't even know.
Entertainment.
Yeah, go on, sorry, you talk about BAME.
So, yeah, BAME.
Where's the G?
I don't like using
It's not
BAME.
It's not
So-
BAME.
What can we call
What can we call it? Well, we're not make a new acronym. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
What's
it's
their one called?
Huh?
So what's the opposite of people called?
There isn't
What's
one.
the one for the wine?
Wine. There isn't one. That's the thing. They don't feel it's a need
Non-wine.
one.
Non-wine.
non-wine.
That's what it should be called.
So non-wine, okay? We know what it means.
So someone feeling out of sorts and they want someone to talk to, what would your be advice for them?
So let's just go back to that a second, like the non-wine. The
wine, okay.
Because I think that it's important about the workforce because we only make up 6% of the workforce. So if you go to get help in an NHS service or a community-based service, you're probably not going to speak to someone that has cultural competence or relevance in terms of your background, your understanding, and how you show up in the
I'm trying to swing on
world.
the chair too much, please. Sorry. Thank you.
And so now you put me off.
Oh, no, you'll be all right. You'll pick it up then. Don't worry.
Yeah, so the cultural competence, and also just the workforce that they're lacking. So I think it's really hard if we're saying like come and get help earlier, come and speak to someone, and you go and speak to someone and actually that person's racist or that person doesn't understand your cultural context.
So then it's down to the
Then
companies to
there's a problem with that,
employ.
and that's why we have 8 times. If you're from a black or Asian group and a man, you're 8 times more likely to be sectioned than a
Do you know?
black.
I've
Asian
seen it.
person.
I work in NHS and I've seen it. I can't even front. I've been sectioned myself before for my own personal reason. It was about 2 weeks. It was a personal issue that I had. I'm fine. It's all good. It's in another country. But I work in the National Health, and I see it. It's not so much that they have got mental health. It's more the fear or the lack of energy wanting to deal with people. They just section them because they're scared. Or they don't want to actually have the conversation or kind of like find out what's going on. So it's the racist thing what you're talking about.
Well, there's a big stigma on mental health, isn't there? Because when we think about mental health, like I said, we start to think about mental illness, and there's a whole connotation of people being mentally ill, that they're scary, they're dangerous, they're, if you Google mental health or mental illness, it's really horrible pictures that come up.
But the two should be
people
different though, shouldn't it?
that are suffering. So it's like our stigma, our unconscious bias, our understanding of mental health is low as general population. Then you add the layer of race on top of that, and it becomes even more stigma, unconscious bias. And then you start to omit or take out the kind of the idea of wellness or being able to make choices yourself. You don't have a workforce that understands. So you start to layer all these problems on it. And I think that's why it's hard to come forward, actually, because I think that when you are from a community that is marginalised, there's a disassociation, there's a distrust for authority,
Of course.
for people in power, because actually how you've been treated isn't fair. So why would you come forward and say that you're struggling and then be greeted by someone that doesn't really understand you, doesn't really give you the support that you need, and you leave feeling worse than when you came? So what is the incentive?
Well, you don't even get treated at all. Yeah, you don't leave. Some people don't leave. They're just there getting juiced up constantly.
Do you feel like mental illness has got a lot to do with people changing their surroundings? Because I feel like a lot of cultural mental illnesses is to do with being in a country that doesn't work with your chemistry and your biology of your body.
Makes sense.
Do you know what I mean? Because I've known like some people have gone back to their home country.
Yeah.
And they've been able to be cool. Like they've kind of found themselves very quick.
So they've had mental illness.
You have mental illness here, gone back home, and they're fine.
So what happens then if you're British, you're Black British, for example? This is your home.
Yeah.
Where do you go?
But then doesn't that lend argument to the fact of how do you find the cure to what you have, and perhaps that would be the remedy, or that would be another avenue
but I'd
to
say
exercise for those Black British to go back home to see a different country.
But where is home?
no, but yes, I'm saying home might not be. It's not about home in terms of how you feel.
Yeah.
It's home in terms about your actual like your skin, the way the where your people have come from. You still have DNA memory in it. Do you know what I'm saying? So there's different things that we're not getting here, being in another country. And
things we are getting that we shouldn't be getting, that sometimes.
And even people from this country sometimes leave this country because they find it that they're better off. Do you get what I'm saying? So
different culture.
Yeah, but different
Culture,
surroundings though.
lifestyle,
Yeah, you got like we're talking about sun, sea, trees, and
ethoses.
it's always going to be healthier.
Because people here.
I mean, the grass is always greener, isn't it? And that's the thing. And maybe it is for some people, but I think that when we're looking at COVID in connection with the world, actually we've got a really good deal here. We've got a good deal here. The government's propped up, everyone with furlough. We've got a good health system
I understand
that can cope.
when it comes to situations like that.
We've got
how does that help the individual who's having the problem? I understand but I'm saying that
because
having the problem.
Mental health spiked even while everyone was getting given their furloughs.
I'm not saying it didn't, but go and check out the mental health in a country that has no support.
But they don't. I don't think.
And
I think sometimes people
have no food.
They
have
lean
no access to anything.
But sometimes mental health. Yeah, I hear you saying. But I'm saying sometimes mental health is linked to people having too many options, because I believe like in Western societies mental health is a lot bigger than it is in poor societies, because they haven't got time for it almost. Like, if you understand what I'm saying, they've always stayed we don't like our energy is sometimes a lot of Western societies don't have like their people's energy is not channeled well, to say the least. I mean, so it's like when you're in a country where you have to work and you have to do this, you have to do that, you don't really have time to feel like that. There's people that claim all kind of different mental health here because they can get paid off of having that mental health. So if you've got
they raise the statistics basically.
Well,
there's some people that need it, but there's some people that just milking the system.
We're talking about two different things, because I think that your point about being in a different country, in a different way of a different culture, a different mindset really around it makes a difference, absolutely. But I think that we overlook something, which is that in this country, in this system, we have a very medicalized model, which is where I started, and that the idea of being treated by a professional and going to get professional support is an option. In a lot of countries that don't have a system that supports mental health or mental illness, you have to rely on the community. Like the community take care of the people that are unwell.
Yeah.
It's a lot more of a community feel.
But even
so
the
it's like
statistics,
if you're ill
yeah,
and you're my neighbour, I'm going to bring you food. I'm going to make sure
Isn't,
you're okay.
isn't that better to rehabilitation?
And I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. I think it's different. But I think what we miss from that societal structure is that actually there are some, because we have to separate mental health and mental illness. Because people that are schizophrenic, for example, and are not medicated and are not getting any support from a professional, they will never succeed or get better in that kind of environment. It doesn't matter how much food.
But do they get better in an environment that they put in this country?
But they need support. They do need proper professional
But I feel like
support.
some of these things are diagnosed, they widely diagnose things.
Yeah.
Like lazily.
There's an argument for your saying and there's an argument for your saying, but
So
the ones in there that need that support, but the ones in there that are acting like they need that support and milking the shit
That's
as well.
what I'm saying earlier. But, I'm saying, you know, like when you're mad in different places, even your madness is different. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Even how you're mad is different. And even a lot of the people that are professional, that give professional help, there's a high level of those people that have mental illnesses and commit suicide from how much they've taken on.
I've seen them.
So it's like, you know, like when you look at how many of the rate of how many psychiatrists and things like that have committed suicide, and people that have taken on too much of people's problems, it's hard for some people to want that professional help, knowing those statistics.
So when we were allowed to like travel and have a life and be normal humans before COVID, I spent a little while in Trinidad and Tobago and looking at some of the mental health models that they use there. And you know, like as a nation, Trinidad, they're quite a big party nation actually. They love to lime, and you know, they're always kind of dancing, they're very happy people, like really laid back. And it's really interesting because in a colonized world, actually most systems do adopt the kind of British way of doing things. So they have mental health institutions that people are put in and left, not reviewed. And this is the danger, isn't it? This is the danger, because actually the idea is that these people are ill. We need to put them outside of society.
Supposed to help them, but they're not getting help.
And you know, they are left there for years and years and years and years.
And dealt with by people that don't want to deal with them.
It's like, you know, the systems that we use are not perfect, but I think for me that our way of doing things is more human. I feel.
Right, if you could change anything for the better, you personally, if you had a magic wand, you could change one thing, or maybe two, about the way that it's dealt with. What would those things be? Two things.
So I would make probably like one of the missions of Benevolent Health is to make mental health part of everyday conversations. So how we normalise talking about mental health. I think that's really important. So people don't feel ashamed or they can hear narrative from people who are like them, experiencing what they're experiencing. I think that's really important. And the second thing is I think that we need to make a massive dent in terms of awareness and cultural competence. I think that particularly for what we say, non-wine. Non-wine,
there's you two think, but I'll jump on the bandwagon too.
For diverse communities, for diverse minds, I think we need to have more of a tailored narrative. I think that like professional support's amazing, like CBT, psychotherapy, having a psychiatrist, that's great. But I also think we need storytelling, we need music, we need prayer, we need all of these other things.
They used to have that. They would have
that
impact.
That impact.
Yeah.
And I think we need to move to to mix the models, so we have that professionalised support for people that really need it, i.e. if you're schizophrenic, but we also have something that's good for people that are actually probably do have good health, mental health, and want to thrive and flourish more. How can we show up and support them? So I think we need to mix the models a bit.
I think in the workforce as well. Like what you tell me about how the workforce is, how people are received by the people that are in the workplace. The same way we're given DBSs, there should be some sort of stipulation for your customer service, how you see and treat people. The same level of attention that's paid to the on your resume, because some resumes now they're going in deep. They're going in deep. They want to know who you're married to, your house, this fund, this that. That should be one of the things on the register or on the application form. Your attitude towards people, customer service, how you perceive other people, how you're going to treat them, and it's necessary to be fundamentally part of certain people's companies. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I think COVID has made employers much more aware of mental health. I think that, you know, it's kind of top of mind for most organisations, and that they can't have, you know, a kind of generic vanilla offering around that. I'm
talking more about the discrimination that goes across the board, not just mental health. You've got like the sexism, the racism, the ageism, even the homophobia, all that kind of stuff, where you're dealing with a human being, because you know you're going into a hospital, you're dealing with a human being who may or may not have the experience of dealing with your culture, like we said before. Yeah. I'm saying that if you're putting someone in that role, irrespective of where they come from, that should be part of their training along the way, or some way stipulated in their application that they've done this kind of training, or they're nurturing this kind of way. And across the board, you've seen it in the Me Too stuff, there's homophobic, there's stuff across the board where people in places of power are taking a piss. George Floyd, is it George Floyd? Let me fuck up.
The one that died?
Yeah, George Floyd. I mess up names, I didn't say the wrong thing. Yeah. Even that, you've got people who are in the police, but they're not nice people, you know? Yeah. They haven't been screened the right way, and it's across the board in all different countries.
I was going to ask you, what made you get into mental health, one, and how does it affect your mental health, working with mental health?
Interesting question. So, how did I get into this? I think I grew up in it.
She's a bit mental, you know, but it's okay.
I grew up in it. Yeah. I mean, I think that I find it really interesting, people, and I like helping people. Yeah. And so I got into it by really working in prison and doing stuff around drug and alcohol, and teaching CBT programs to prisoners around
men and women.
Men. It was Brixton. Addressing substance-related offending. So thinking about and you could see in that short space of time, because prisoners are captive audience. They've got nothing better to do, so they're interested, right? Yeah. So you can see in such a short space of time how someone's mindset can completely shift. Yeah, yeah. And for me, that gives me a lot of enjoyment to see people grasp and change the way they think about stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was your second question?
How does it affect you?
I mean,
how does it affect your mental health, working with mental health?
Yeah, I listened to some really harrowing stories in terms of what some people have been through. Yeah. It makes me feel extremely humbled that they share that with me. Like sometimes some of the things people tell me they've never told anyone before, and to give it a voice is really powerful for them. I mean, I have a supervisor who I see twice a week. We talk about kind of my clinical cases, but for me, I try to balance my work. So
what is your balance? What is your away from work balance that makes it?
Well, in COVID, this is a challenge. I mean, I travel a lot and I enjoy it. Not being able to travel in COVID, so I've actually booked now like 6 weeks to go to Spain.
You're not bringing everything up.
You go to Spain for 6 weeks?
Yeah.
She's not bringing everything up.
On the 30th of May.
I got invite as well, you know.
For 6 weeks.
I wish you wish you had an invite.
I got invite. You were sending my invite, yeah? I thought there's a reason.
You don't even know my name.
Whatever. Yeah.
So you go to Spain to work or just to party?
No, I'm going to relax for like 6 weeks. So I like to take time kind of away in the sun, in the sea.
Partying.
It's closed.
Not give you everything, you know.
So it closes like 11. So
this one.
What, Ibiza?
Well, nothing's. Spain haven't opened up properly yet. They're
this one.
They're closed till 11.
So she can fight.
She's saying she goes on holiday. She's not telling you everything. Why do you? Yeah, look, he's smiling.
Go on, tell her. You tell me.
Kickboxing, everything. She's been in the ring. Had to go and watch her beating.
No way. See,
managing her mental health.
Yeah, beating people up.
I do. I go to the gym. You know, I work out
on a regular basis.
I try and eat good food. Yeah. And try and keep fit and healthy.
Yeah.
And
You spar, you do kickboxing, come on.
I do a bit of sparring.
Just going to the gym is one
bit
thing,
of
which
kickboxing,
is very therapeutic. Let's
very
have certain energy as well, you
therapeutic.
know? Come on.
Yep, very therapeutic.
So you beat people up. That's how you balance it out.
Yeah, beat people up. I pray.
Yes,
I've
sorry,
got
I did,
faith.
yeah, you're very, 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 very big in the church as well. Tried to convert me as well, didn't you?
I do believe in God. He helps. He makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got a good family. I've got a good support network.
Yeah, so
I'm
you didn't grow up in
blessed.
mental health then?
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone has mental
I'm
health.
joking.
That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Right? That's
But
the point.
this is my thing though. Mental
Everyone
health,
has
yeah.
mental
Like
health.
everyone has health. It's just whether it's good or bad.
Yes, that's right.
Well,
That's it.
it's on a spectrum, and we're always fluctuating.
Yeah.
And that's what we don't recognise enough.
Is there a
I
person
like
that doesn't do
That's
that?
very poignant.
Like,
That's very poignant.
It's like we judge ourselves for doing what we're supposed to do because there's no one that doesn't.
Yeah, but I think that this is for somebody who's got his own problems like everybody else. Sometimes you overjudge yourself on certain things, the things that have passed or that are coming, rather than focusing on what's right in front of you.
That's right.
And just putting too much power or emphasis on one given thing that is going to change. And like
Yeah.
you said, the spectrum's constantly changing. There's some human beings that feel like it's the be all and end all, but once you can understand it's not, and you're subject to change constantly,
Yeah.
you find it a lot easier to deal with stuff.
Yeah. I think it's just about focus. Whenever you channel your energy, right? Every time you put someone in a situation, even people that have had just be physical illness, if they channel their energy right, they've been able to fix it. It's people that had all kind of illnesses, whether it's diseases or mental illnesses, and I've watched them be able to overcome it for just channeling their energy.
Yeah.
I don't think people talk about energy enough, like. You know, like because energy, whether you wanted to get spiritual or not, you could just talk about energy because energy is something that we have to deal with in the life that we live in this realm that we're living in. So, like channeling energy and understanding people's level of energy, I think is very important, and I don't think it gets discussed when it comes to like mental health and mental illnesses.
I think that the energy is derivative of the brain as well. Like the energy is important. Like you said, you can think yourself better.
Yeah.
You can think yourself ill.
Yeah.
You can help yourself. You can think yourself into £1 million. You can think yourself into the.
But it's just about understanding them. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I feel like the school system has one style. Yeah. So that you have to go through that one styling of schooling. You go through that one styling of like maybe even getting checked up, and everyone's completely different. You know what I'm saying? So there's like a lot of different styles. It's very important to understand yourself as well, so you can
It's imperative.
you can find the things to heal yourself as well, because the same things don't heal it. Like the same process don't heal everyone.
Well, yeah, and some people start in a deficit, don't they?
Yeah.
You know, if you've grown up in a home where you haven't had the basic things.
But sometimes that makes you stronger.
Well, yeah, but it also, you know, there's a level of trauma with that, you know, leaves a blueprint.
Definitely, but even like they say within poverty and growing up in a poor family or rich family, there's always things that people have to deal with that are traumatic.
But when your basic needs are not met, when you don't feel safe, you're not warm, you know, you don't have food.
I'm gonna put a butt in all of this.
Like this
problem.
level of deficit, like it stops you learning. Like it's really hard to self-actualize.
But even if they do, like
if you're not warm.
if you gave a child everything, that puts them in a very bad place as well.
Hold on. So it doesn't, to me, it matters, but it doesn't matter, because you've seen people who've been in abusive stuff and they've managed to, their energy, they've channeled it and known themselves enough to get out of it. The same, and then the other way as well.
Yeah.
It's about going back to what you said, knowing yourself, knowing your energy, knowing how to channel it, surrendering to God. It's like, it can be very generalised, but if you're aware of stuff and you don't have to conform, then you can move on and grow. There's certain people that are just born with that gene in them, they don't conform. No matter what they've gone through, they could be in a fucking bucket, like left on the doorstep. They will still aspire to where they're going because they've got that resilience and that power within their mind. That they're that focused. They say, this is me. I don't care if you're eating cake or whatever, I'm eating this. I don't care if you're doing this, I'm doing this. And they stick to their guns. They'll still stay with people.
The highest rate of suicides comes from the higher class. From rich people, like rich families.
I don't know about the statistics. I don't know about statistics.
Yeah, you can check that at any time.
Men aged 40 to 44 have the highest rate of suicide.
Yeah.
You know, hold on.
That have been divorced usually.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So is that you?
That's me. Twice. And I'm 45. Oh my goodness.
No, but yeah, if you can check it if you want. Like a lot of people
this is the last show of IO Talks.
They don't know how to touch wood. They don't know how to when you've grown up with everything, you don't know how to take hardship. So a lot of the people that like when they go through anything that starts being hard,
challenge.
and then that's why I'm saying, like, you know, when because a lot of people say, oh, growing up poor is the disadvantage, but growing up poor makes you resilient and it makes you durable. Whereas growing up with everything doesn't make you resilient and durable. It kind of makes you weak.
I think it's
How can you show me opposite?
Yeah. On a wider scale, I think you're harder when you go up with nothing. You end up better. When you go up with a lot, it's a lot harder. But it's still individualized as well.
No, that's what I said. Individualized, and that's where it meets. That's where you'll meet the people that's just like not really been a victim of their circumstances and made. And that meets in the middle, right? So whether you're rich or poor, you haven't been a victim of your circumstances, and you've made yourself a decent person with this decent character, because that's the ultimate goal, right? To be a decent person with decent character and have a decent life.
What is the ultimate goal, though?
I'm just saying, do you know, like, to have a decent character, decent life, and do you know what I'm saying?
Be happy, have a good
and be happy, blah, you know what I'm saying? So
then that to me, like what you're saying, it is your right.
Yeah.
But then if someone now has that business model in their head. And then something goes out of awry. That's when some people go mad. When it doesn't go how they want it to go.
No, I know that's not what I think. I'm just saying that's what the world thinks. Yeah. But I'm saying, what could we say that a rich person has as an adult that's better than a person that's just grown up in
the risk factors to suicide, like the economical wealth doesn't really play part of it. I think it's like, you know, if you've got it in your background, as in someone in your family's committed suicide, or you've tried to commit suicide before, that increases the risk. And then, you know, there's all the stuff around actually, you know, on a kind of scale of depression. You know, if you're someone that is depressed and suffers with depression, again, you're more likely to. Then there's all the social economic stuff that comes next. But you know, when you're looking at kind of risk factors on suicide, that they're the two things that you'd look for the most. Is if someone's tried to commit suicide before,
that's me.
Or self-harm,
that's me. And
if it's in their family.
That's not my family.
So
I've been married twice.
So
that was the self-harm.
Yeah. And you want to marry a third time?
Well. What's his face?
She got you.
You want to do it again?
Go on, yeah. Well, you know, first time's a charm, mate. You know,
with a mental health expert. I'm gonna make it out of this one. Yeah.
Okay, so that's IO Talks with I'm messing shit up.
Traveling's good. I love traveling, but what do you guys think about people that travel like excessively? Because that also I've noticed within like knowing people that's dealing with mental health and people that didn't realize they were dealing with mental health, that, you know, people travel excessively almost like they're trying to find themselves.
I mean, I think there's around the travel thing,
because it looks good on Instagram, so no one will consider that as mental illness or anything. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna come with something else, but you can ask this. I want to come with something else off the back of that as well.
Yeah.
I mean, people that travel, frequent travellers that are flying around different time zones. I think that one of the impacts on mental health is sleep. Yeah. And it messes up our circadian rhythm, right?
That's right.
Well,
and
it's for the ignorant
our
people,
body clock, our
use the term use again, please.
Circadian rhythm.
Circadian rhythm. You learn something new every day. Circadian rhythm.
So this is the rhythm that tells us when it's night and day, and when to sleep, when to be awake. And so, you know, we're all different. I'm personally an early riser. I like to go to bed early and wake up early. I get my energy from the day. Some people get their energy in the night and are more productive in the night. So it depends on the individual. But you'll still, whether you're a night person or a day person, you still will have a rhythm that's...
Definitely.
A circadian rhythm.
The circadian rhythm.
Okay.
That's you know, it's clockwork.
Yeah.
And so if you're changing that all the time because you do shift work or you are going through different time zones, and so you're awake in the night when you're supposed to be sleeping, whatever, then that does impact how we feel, because sleep is a massive impact on our mental health.
Yeah.
And if we don't have good sleep, it's really easy to get depressed, anxious, stressed, all the mental health indicators.
I also think, like, when you've got, like I said to you, some people have got the money to do these things, right? and it's down to.
They haven't got the money.
No, they've got the money to do these things. You know, like when some people just got the money to do these things. So if you feel like money is gonna fix how you feel, that's when I think
that's control, isn't it?
Yeah, like people overspend, whether it's shopping, and overspend, whether it's traveling.
Trying to fill an empty hole.
Yeah.
What I was gonna ask off the back of what you said, now,
Yeah.
is there's this thing about alcohol and drugs and mental health, because
well, that's a
drink.
big risk factor.
Yeah, it's a big, I mean, I drink,
Yeah.
but there's people that drink and there's people that take whatever drugs. I'm not going to advocate any drug in the thing, but alcohol is a legal drug. We can talk about that. But some of these things now, if you're in a bad state of mind already, it just exacerbates the situation. The same, this is what I'm going for what you said just now.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
escapism of going on holiday.
Yeah.
People trying to escape in a bottle.
Yeah.
They blow things up, and then when they're in the bottom of that bottle, they find more problems in the bottle than they had without the without drinking the drink. But then it's a vicious circle. They keep drinking, and then the cheapness of alcohol. It doesn't matter if you've got the money, because now
That's why I think, like, you know, like if there was a display of people a set of people that you could point to, and you could say, look, they're living this life. This is what they're doing. This is their diet. This is how they're living. This is that extra, like, etc., etc. Yeah, and people could see them and say, right, these people are good people. I like how they're living. I like their lifestyle, and they'll go for that. They'll kind of repeat that, right?
I think there are like sorry, go on.
no.
I don't think there's no one that's perfect.
There's
No,
control.
but there are high performance. Like there are people, like high performing people,
Yeah.
flourishing people,
Yeah.
and there are specific habits that go with that.
But who are they, and how are they perfect?
They're out there, but
No, it's just
go on.
So, but again, it depends on kind of what you're trying to achieve.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I said. Who are they? Who are the perfect people to you?
So I mean, for me, it's not about being perfect.
No, but
me,
that's what
I I want to marry him.
Okay. I'll talk to my psychiatrist first, okay?
So
Apart from Io.
yeah, apart from
Come on.
yeah, you know what I mean. But it's like basing. What are we basing perfection on? Because, like I say, I know people that are successful financially. I know people that are successful spiritually. So like when I look at the two.
But you see, boom, listen to this one now, yeah?
I wouldn't want the finance one.
Yeah? So those people, they're successful in any one of the two genres, yeah?
Yeah.
If they now pour half a bottle of whiskey down their neck, and then they start being mental, how does that work for mental health? Because I'm not them as people, but
my thing is, if some people are cool, say if you was okay, you're ultimately fit, yeah, you're completely plant based. You're reading a book.
Plant-based.
Yeah. You're reading a book by a tree. Yeah.
By a tree because you're plant-based.
Next to your mansion. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right.
10 minutes.
Next to your mansion. Yeah. And that's like you've achieved everything you wanted to do from a great family that you've come from.
Yeah. But it's human nature to always want more, though,
There's
isn't
never
it?
perfection.
There isn't.
There's never perfection.
There isn't.
And the thing that I talk about with people I work with is being good enough and being, okay with being good enough.
That's
so
right.
you're never gonna achieve perfection. Maybe in some
why
things.
not? But how can you not achieve perfection if perfection is not the same thing for everyone? Like I can imperfectly be perfect because I'm me.
Well, yeah, but that's still not perfection.
It is.
It's in your eyes. In your
Who
eyes.
else's eyes do I need though?
In your eyes.
Who else's eyes do I need?
Huh?
Who else's eyes do I need
Absolutely no one, but this is the
to
thing.
see my perfection?
But you understand that.
But
and
you're
that's why you
probably
won't
not
have the mental health
perfect.
other people have.
I am perfect.
Well, let's ask the people around you.
That's not. It's not down to them. It's not down to them.
I think he's pretty close to perfect. Even though I could cast aspersions as one or two things.
Yeah, but it's not down to you to tell me I'm perfect or not. It's not down to me to tell you you're perfect.
But the reality is that what we see of ourselves is one dimensional.
No, that's the best. Like if you see yourself in good light, that's what you need. Because people.
So what happens?
It's
so what
one-dimensional.
what happens when if you see yourself like that and you got the Dave Chappelle thing where he's black but he thinks he's white, and you've realised one day that you're not what you see yourself as, then everything's fucked.
My thing is that
you understand what I'm saying, right?
I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying imperfectly perfect means we always
I grasp all of that.
Mental health and everything is geared towards this perfect place.
It's not though.
It is. Everything is geared towards
It's
being.
not,
No, hear what I'm saying. Maybe you know different. You know what I'm saying? I'm just talking from a person that doesn't
From your
study.
point of view.
Yeah, but the general, because that's why black people don't go and get the help. That's why because it's how it's looked at, right? Or not?
Perception.
Perception.
Perception. Yeah.
And if you don't change your perspective on the perception, nothing's going to change. And even if it does, if it's run by people that only want you to take pills. We're not even talking about that. It's run by...
It's run by people who don't care about you. Paid for by people who ain't got a clue about nothing. Run by the people who for the pills. They're at the top.
Exactly.
People at the top.
So the whole structure of it is
don't
not
really care, don't know nothing.
It's not supposed to care about us, and it was supposed to send us in a place that don't really make sense.
I don't know your name. Sorry,
Jay,
you're
wow,
you're
Kettle,
talking.
Black.
You've known me for years. You should know.
Come
my
on,
name.
I've introduced you.
You should know
It's
my
one
name.
letter, darling. Come on, it's one letter.
Anyway. So Jay, let's
one letter. She forgot Jay. You know,
IO.
I forgot Marteka Swaby. That's a mouthful. Okay, she forgot Jay. Okay, moving on. And I'm
I have known Jay for like years.
She's
one letter.
She's definitely rich with that name. You know?
Come on.
Marteka Swaby.
It's a beautiful name.
Thank you. So anyway,
sounds like a drink.
That's when you say that.
A very nice drink.
She's much better than a drink. I tell you what, mate. Serious.
how do you know?
Huh?
How do you know?
Huh?
How do you know?
Huh?
Anyway, so
Anyway,
Jay,
God.
you're speaking from a place of not being in deficit, and I think that's what's important about mental health is that often when you're in that dilemma, you don't see that you're in that you don't see that you're in that deficit. You don't see you're in that pot. And so it's really easy when you're in a good place to kind of go, you know, I can choose good thoughts, and my thoughts are actually all that matter.
Yeah.
Imagine someone that's got bipolar disorder. They haven't taken their medication. They're really confused.
Yeah, I speak to a lot of them.
They don't look after themselves. They haven't eaten. They're dirty. Someone needs to intervene and help.
Definitely. But sometimes some of the environments, like the environment that I would provide, me, Mr. Non, I haven't got the qualifications. The kind of environment I'll provide for that person, I've been able to provide environments for people to bring themselves back. And that's what I said, it's just down to being able to give them something to do. So like, again, it was just, I believe in channeling energy. I believe channeling energy helps a lot of people. And I've actually used it because with the people that I've seen have their issues in my life around me.
You care as well. You know, like
I care.
People that come up to you, they come to the door, person there at 4 o'clock, leaving at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about you.
Yeah.
You're this big black guy who's fucking probably had my daughter last week, whatever. Nah, mate, I don't care about you. Furthermore, you know what? Go to the back of the queue. So it's lunchtime now. I'll see you afterwards. I said, you want more time?
No, I fully understand that. I just feel like, again, I think we need to address the fact that a lot of the things that people are being told to do are being told to do them because for profit for someone else. Anyway.
Yeah, I wasn't laughing at you. Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
What I wanted to ask you, because I know we're wrapping up. This one's a stickler for time as well. Oh my goodness gracious.
Therapist.
Is it for a therapist? It's a wife soon, whatever. Who knows, man?
Wife.
If you see me with no hair, you know what happened, didn't it? All right, we got married. Yeah.
You need to get divorced first.
Anyway, moving on swiftly. So I want to say, I stay struggle proof all the time. Yeah. What I wanted to say is, have you got any advice for anyone dealing with mental health, dealing with someone who has mental health in their family, who wants to seek help, maybe wants to ask questions, find out stuff? Yeah, that's basically my question.
I'd say you're not alone. There are many people that are like you in going through what you're going through. So reach out.
Okay. So if you've got mental health, dealing with someone with mental health in your family, you have problems or anything, Marteka Swaby and Fawole and everyone else around you that loves you wants you to know that you're not alone. Other people are going through these things in this world. You'd be surprised how many people are going through these things in this world at exactly the same time as you. Just reach out for some help.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone wants to talk about their mental health publicly, and that's okay. Like if you don't want everyone to know, just tell one person. So I that's what I would say. Just tell one person. And, get that different perspective. There's lots of online resources, there's a lot of stuff these days online that you can do that you don't even need to speak to a person, but just flag it up to someone that you trust, because having a third perspective, a different perspective, can really make you see life differently.
That's helped me a lot. So find someone to confide in. You're not alone. No man is an island. That's the saying, isn't it? No man is an island. If you can't talk to someone, there's loads of stuff online you can access. There's helplines like the Samaritans and so forth. Everyone's got a mind. Everyone has mental health. So some mental health is good and some is bad. We're all human beings.
Show love.
Show love. Yes, that's nice. That leads us to the next show. Show love. Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Do you know my name? What is my name?
Marteka Swaby, I am Fawole, Life Talks, the voice behind the camera. Thank you so much. Love you. Mental health.
Love you.
Get married.
You have to get divorced first.
Yeah, see.